Have you ever had one of those whirlwind days when you're rushing from one task to the other, and then by the time you finally get into bed at night, you're like, what did I even get done or accomplished today? That's probably because you were extremely busy but minimally productive. And today we're going to talk about the difference between being busy, being productive, how you can see the difference between the two, and make sure that most of your days are actually living in the realm of productivity versus busyness. You know, in this society that we live in, being busy and being productive are almost mistaken for the same thing. In fact, our culture promotes hustle culture, or this culture of you can rest when you die. Excuse me? I don't think so. I think I'm gonna live my life in a way that's robust and meaningful. And yes, I'm gonna be productive, and at times I'm gonna be busy. But when you ingrain that hustle culture to the point where you're not healthy, you're not happy, like what is even the point? So you may be thinking to yourself, well, I don't really know the difference between being busy and being productive. How do I switch gears? How do I go from being a busy worker bee, going from one task to the next task to the next task, to actually somebody that's productive and yields an outcome that pushes the needle forward in whatever project or endeavor that they're looking at? So first thing I want you to do is we're going to go on a hypothetical journey with this imaginary person. Let's say productive person Eva is going to start a blog, or she's going to start a YouTube channel, and she has made the determination that a week from today she'd like to post her first video or write her first blog entry. So Eva on day one is going to make a determination that she may go ahead and find a website where she feels comfortable posting her blog. So this is day one. She's not doing anything grandiose. She's not doing anything that's going to take all day to do. She is being productive, and she's going to get that task done. So then what does day two look like for Eva? So maybe on day two, she would dedicate some time to think about what are the topics and what is the branding that I want to talk about. Do I want to talk about fitness, wellness, gaming? Like, what is it that I want to talk about? And then maybe on day three, she would think about, okay, let's consist of what that first topic that I'm going to talk about would be, and maybe make an outline of a video or a blog on what I'm going to talk about. So far, day one, day two, day three, Eva has completed a task. It's nothing that takes all day. It's something that she's had to sit down and work on, but she's being productive. So she started at day zero with nothing, and here we are at the end of day three with an idea on her branding. She signed up for her platform, and she's already thinking about what that first topic could look like. So then day four comes around. So then day four may be actually sitting down to write out the blog post, or actually sitting down to film the video. And no matter what, she's going to get that task done. Day five could be, I'm going to edit the blog, or day five could be, I'm going to edit the video that I filmed on day four. Day six could be an actual break from all of that. It could be a moment to reflect. It could be a moment where we do some research. It could be a moment where you're catching up on some tasks that you need to get done. It doesn't necessarily have to be a day that you're even doing anything. It could just actually be a day of rest and reflection. And then day seven is you push out that final product. So here we are a week ago, and Eva said this was the idea that I wanted to have. And each day she did something productive to yield the final result, which is her published video. Now, let's take a look at Eva's cousin, the busy person, cousin Keisha. So let's say, and Keisha's your name, I'm sorry. So think of this person in the same scenario. I want to film a video, or I want to write a blog. And let's talk about what the key differences are of that busy cousin Keisha versus productive cousin Eva. So the busy person is going to spend an excessive amount of time researching and trying to figure out what this needs to look like because they are stuck probably in planning. A busy person is going to come up with a long list of to-dos. I know some of you are guilty of that. These are all the things that I have to do. Not doing a thing on the to-do list, but making a list of long to-dos. A busy person is going to try to make sure that something is perfect before they take action because they're stuck and they actually really don't want to do it. They just kind of want to think about doing it. A busy person tends to be an overthinker. It's somebody that doesn't like to move forward. A busy person is somebody that expands the task to the amount of time that they have available. That's a word for somebody. If you've got an hour, you're going to fill the whole hour with busy task. If you've got 10 minutes, you're going to fill the 10 minutes with busy task. And a busy person is somebody that likes to look busy, but it's not somebody that really gets things done. So I want you to think about the last major project or endeavor that you pursued. Is it somewhere sitting on a to-do list? Is it somewhere sitting with an outline? Is it somewhere sitting on a plan? Did you ever actually execute? That's the difference between being busy and being productive. So then how do you prioritize and move from being busy to being productive? Well, it's exactly the word prioritize. You have to prioritize your task. In the case of Cousin Eva prioritized a simple task each day over the course of a week to execute the outcome. Where Cousin Keisha was all over the place because she really didn't have a priority. She was stuck just in doing. She was stuck in action versus actually stepping back and prioritizing and determining what it needs to be done. So think about the things that you need to get done. What needs to be prioritized? And then how do you take that priority and chunk it the same way that Cousin Eva did it, or chunk it in a way that you can utilize your time effectively and you're actually moving forward. Think about a productive person as somebody that's inching towards the goal line each and every day, or each and every time they approach something, even if it's just a little bit at a time. If a goal is sitting over here and you're inching to it each and every day, that's progress. That's being productive. Versus if the goal is over here and you stay over here in planning, you stay over here in research, you stay over here in stuckness, and you don't ever move over here to productivity. One of the things I'm going to tell you, and this is going to be so hard for so many of you, is avoid multitasking. I would argue that it is so much more productive to sit down and execute something as much as you can from start to finish, even if you don't always get it done, and going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. Let me give you an idea of something that I constantly have to stop myself from multitasking. That's answering email. Like, I have a system where I come and I sit down the first 20 minutes of work and I categorize my emails immediately so they can get out of my inbox. But I will also go in my emails throughout the day, and then I'll answer one email. That's going to cause a chain reaction to something else. Oh, did I do that? Did I do this? And then before you know it, I'm taking away from the things that are making me productive because I'm doing things that are keeping me busy, like going through email, rather than just sitting down and saying, okay, during this 30-minute slot, I'm going to look at my emails and then I'll look at it again at maybe the end of the day for 30 minutes. And that's me. I'm just being honest and telling you something that I still struggle with multitasking. But whenever I sit down, and I've mentioned this before, and I get my little timer out and I say, okay, Diaka, you're going to spend 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes on something start to finish. Like, it is so much more productive because I'm not distracted. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to work on this report, or I'm going to sit here and I'm going to work on this video for 30 minutes. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to find myself doing something else. I would really encourage you too, if you struggle with your cell phone, to put that on work mode. Apple, I don't know if I'm Android, definitely has features where you can go in and stop getting calls, notifications during a block of time. Not to mention, when you're multitasking, I need you to thinking about one thing and one project or one thing that you need to execute, and just think about your brain power focused on that versus your brain power being divided up by 4 or 5 different things during the same block of time. Like, you're going to be so much more fatigued if you're looking at all these different things, and you are going to also more than likely make small mistakes when you're looking at multiple things, because so many things are crossing over versus being focused on the one thing. And then think smaller. I know, mind blowing. Like, actually slow down and think smaller, then go faster and think bigger. I know, like, calm down. I know, revolutionary, but it makes so much freaking sense when you want to go from busy to being productive. And let me tell you why thinking smaller really, really does matter, is because the vast majority of people overestimate what they can get done in a certain amount of time. They overestimate that if you give me 20 minutes to get this thing done, I will actually be able to do it in 20 minutes, when really what you need was 30 minutes. And so when I talk about thinking smaller, I talk about chunking things. So if you have an hour, 15 minutes on this part of the task, 15 minutes on the second part of the task, 15 minutes on the third part of the task, and 15 minutes on the fourth part of the task over the course of an hour. Build in about 10 minutes to have some time in between those. So in an hour and 10 minutes, how much can you get done on one big task if you break it into smaller pieces of a task? So let me give you a perfect example. Say, for example, we go back to Cousin Keisha. Well, Cousin Keisha wants to do some research. Remember, she's all over the place. So let's say Cousin Keisha has an hour to do research. She may spend the first 15 minutes researching on branding. She may spend the 15 minutes after that researching on camera equipment. She may spend the next 15 minutes after that researching on the best time to upload to YouTube. Or she may spend the last 15 minutes looking at her demographic. What usually happens is Cousin Keisha will start with the 15 minutes of branding, and then before you know it, you go down the rabbit hole and then you look up and it's 45 minutes. That is why I really recommend having something that makes noise and has a timer, because if you can create a disciplined system that allows you to spend just a little bit amount of time on each of those things over the course of time, at the end of that hour, you have researched 4 different things and have an idea, and then you can step back and decide, where does my time need to go after that? But she's done something versus spending the whole first hour doing just that one topic. And I hope you picked up on something that I mentioned in being busy versus being productive, and that's take breaks. Like, even the Lord took a break, y'all. Like, God made the universe, the sun, the moon, and he took a whole day off. Like, I need you to understand, you need to take time off and you need to take small breaks. So no matter what you're working on, I never recommend working on anything for more than 30 minutes straight without even taking a 5-minute break. Once again, though, you have to have the discipline that 5 minutes doesn't turn into 25 minutes, and that goes back to picking up your phone, getting distracted by people around you, getting distracted by your email. Like, it's truly about taking that time to de-escalate. Go look out the window, go walk around the block, like doing something that's going to help you clear some mental space and mental capacity, but then allows you to return back to your work. The other thing about taking breaks is take a day off. Like, I supervise a pretty decent group of people, and they will tell you hands down, I tell them all the time, take the day off if you need it. What do you have the days for if you're not going to use them when you need them? And so many times when people are busy versus being productive, they ended up taking the day off when they get sick. They end up taking the day off when the test results come back and say you need to calm down. They end up taking the day off when something has built up to the point where they have to take the day off. Not me. I'm going to take the day off when I feel like, you know what, now's just a good natural break in order for me to refresh myself, put myself in a place where I can really slow down and reflect. And I would also encourage you, if you do take the day off, and I understand not everybody can always take time off, but if you can take the day off, don't create a day off where you fill the day off with things to keep you busy. Like, if I take the day off, I'm not gonna be like doing 25 appointments, catching up on cleaning out the closet. I'm not running here to go get the oil change. I'm truly taking the day off, and it's gonna be filled with whatever I need to pour back into myself in order to be productive. So at the end of the day, being busy versus being productive is really just about working smarter and not harder, and it's working slower and not faster. That's a pretty big revolutionary concept for a lot of people to grab hold of. Working smarter, working slower versus working faster and working longer. I guarantee you will definitely see the huge difference. So, if what I'm saying is making sense, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, because around here, we're all about personal wellness, health, and productivity, but we're also about making sure that we are balanced here in this life. Right there in the little corner. Thank you very much. So at the end of the day, it's about you making a decision about what your time looks like. Look, I'm going to be honest with you. There are going to be some days where you're just going to be busy. Like, sometimes you're going to have those days. You got to run around and get the kids here. You've got to run around and go here. Well, this took longer than that. And so sometimes you're just going to be busy. I'm not telling you every day is a day of, music from the heavens plane of productivity. But what I am saying is, if you prioritize and look at a task and stop and start to think, am I busy or am I being productive? Am I going towards my goal or am I going towards the opposite direction? You will be shocked at what you can do. So please make sure to like this video and hit subscribe for more videos like this, and I will see you next time.